Hello, everyone. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for us to get together and talk about some robot trading. I tried to play some music in our little pre-session, and it didn't work out. So maybe I could sing. No, I'm not going to do that. Although I could rap. I'm very good at rapping. I wrote a rap when I was 16. I can rap it. I'll rap it for you one day. But no, we're not here to rap or to play music. We're here to talk about robot trading. It's February 16, 2017. And I'm Scott Welsh. See that? It says Scott Welsh right there. I want to talk this week about trusting too much. I've gotten a lot of emails on a subject, and it's a really, really important one. So I do want to talk about it because we've been talking about a lot of systems, and I've got a lot of systems that I'm working on, and there's going to be a lot for us to talk about. But if we don't get the underpinnings, if we don't get the underlying foundation right, none of these cool trading systems or ideas or anything that we ever do will be successful if we don't have the foundation. So we're going to talk about the foundation and what it means to trust too much. Too much trust. We'll talk about that. Now, I was going to save it for the end and talk about my brand new website, which literally went up only a few hours ago. But I put something important at the end of one of these webinars, and a lot of people missed it. So I'm not waiting for the end. I'm going to do it right now in the beginning. So I'm going to take 2 minutes. We'll run around my website. I want you to know what it's all about and how to navigate it and what to do. All right. First of all, site's name, scottwelsh.me. My email only has one T. I'm probably going to add another email that has two T's. So we'll probably do that. But right now it's fine. But my website is my actual name. My email, Gmail, has been wrong all these years. So that's it, scottwelsh.me. Now, why make a website? Well, I wanted to put everything in one place. Now, a few smart people, several of my lifetime members who have been around for a while, said to do this a long time ago. And I must come to these conclusions all at my own time. I apologize. You were right. Everyone was right. But I want one place where people can get stuff they need. If you want anything from me, I wanted it all in one place. And I wanted to make it super easy. I don't like complicated websites. I wanted to be super easy. So I've only been working on this about a month, hours and hours and hours and hours and refining. And I'll probably still work on it. And there's a couple of even things more I want to add. But this is a one-stop shop. I don't even like that phrase. Let's transfer over and I'll show you real quick. That's not it. That's how I get into the webinar. There it is. I'll minimize the questions for a second. All right, if you go to scottwelsh.me, we're here, and it's nowhere to somewhere, which is nowhere to somewhere is basically my favorite thing to do on earth, is to take nothing and turn it into something. Whether that be tennis players, start with no ranking and go to an extremely high ranking, start with trading accounts, start with zero and go quite high. It's the one thing that motivates me. It's the one thing that I love to do every single day. It doesn't matter the medium, whether it's tennis or trading. I love nowhere starting, getting to somewhere. I love that. So that's the title. It's going to be a lot of automated trading on this site, but I'm transferring over, as I said last time, to self-improvement. I hate that term too. It's just kind of bleh. But I have a lot of things, 22 years of coaching, 22 years of speeches. Almost all my free time is based on finding something that's helpful to other people. I've got a lot to say on it, and I think a lot that can really help you. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that can help you, and I'm going to find it and condense it. So I wanted a place for that too. So you're going to be seeing a lot more things designed just to make your life better. I love epiphanies. I love one day you're lost in the fog and the next day you're clear. I love that. That's a whole other topic. So that's my goal. I want to find that one thing that makes a difference. So let's go through the tabs super quick. Home page is obviously. Here's the About page in case you want to know who I am if you've never seen me before. Here's the About, little write-up on me and my trading career. I give you a little personal stuff. This is the greatest and scariest trade of my life. I didn't start with big trading accounts. I'm a tennis pro, for crying out loud. But this was $10,000 in one day right there. I wrote a book about it, put it in a course. I'm going to rewrite that book and put it out again. $10,000 in 1 week, put a picture of that. That's the actual trade. That's what happened. Kind of cool. Here's me and a couple of my students. My students are still a huge part of my life. Which one is me? I'm not going to tell you. But these two were state champions. This is now doing his postdoc at Harvard. He's super smart. He's a scientist. published scientist. This is now a YouTube mogul, one of my students. He was a very good tennis player, started from nothing. Now he's got one of the top sites on YouTube, one of the very top sites. He was on Conan, by the way, just Mark. Hopefully he won't mind my name because he was on Conan. And there's this is another one of my students who's one of the top salespeople in Chase Mortgage. So they started as tennis players just running around hitting tennis balls, and it led to a lot of other stuff. This is me and Jill. If you want to know who Jill is, my training partner, whatever, that's her. You can take a look at that. What I offer, one of my favorite quotes, and then other stuff. I do give some stuff on my coaching. If you're interested in how coaching can translate into trading, you can take a look at that. Let's move on. Training courses. You know I have 3. You can go to Kajabi, but now you can go here. You just click on any one of these, takes you right to the site. I do a little write-up. You can click here and go right to the site. You can so you can look at and buy trading or courses there. There'll be more of those. Ebooks. This is the free one. If it's so easy, why isn't anyone doing it? This is the rewrite, the nightmare, the horror of making 10,000 in a week. There's a horror, the reason I say that. And I write it up there. And here's the one I'm working on now, the inevitability of getting rich. I'm loving writing it, so that'll be coming out soon. I'm nearly done with that one. If you are new to the site and you want the free ebook, it's the same one. I'm going to write a new one, but it's the same one. Here's a little excerpt from the ebook. If you want it, you just fill out the form, email it to me, and I send it right out to you. If you want to know about robot, a lot of people say, well, what do you offer? I have the robots for sale. Now, I just got this email in the past 24 hours. Incredible email. And I should have kept all of these. I've gotten more than one. And that was just dumb and irresponsible of me. But this is really cool. You can read it for yourself. It's one of the lifetime members. He had lost $14,000, and from October 2016 to now, he's recovered all $14,000. So that's pretty amazing using robots. So you can read about that testimonial. And then, of course, here are the robots. I've got the Hornet, which is available for lifetime members only, and then the Breakout, which we'll be talking about, and the Fair Value, which we've been talking a lot about it. Just use the Contact Me section, right? Then you've got the trading blog. This is months and months going all the way back to 2016. So all my blogs now are one place. This is the new blog, the self-improvement. I call it big points. In tennis, what's a big point? A game point, match point, set point, break point. So there's a lot of emphasis, and rightly so, put in tennis on the big points. Can you win the game points? Well, obviously, that's also big points in our life. Are there moments, which I talked about epiphanies, right? Are there some epiphanies or some big points in your life that made a difference and were a fork in the road in your journey? So that's why I called it Big Points. I wrote this last week, 10 Ways Federer Nadal Can Change Your Life. This is going to be everything and anything. Anything I think that can maybe help you, it's going to go on this blog. And then if you want to contact me, now you can do it. Name, address, write your message, send it to me. I'll get it. And then if you ever want to search for a blog or a specific blog post, you just go there and then you type in 10K to a million, which is the first post on there. 10K, there it is, 10K. I just saw it. 10K to a million. Right, there it is. And then you click on it there. And then you can find that too. So there you go. Enough about that. One final thing, actually, not enough about that. You can see on my computer, when you go to the home, on computer, you can see all the tabs. See that in the search? But when you are on your mobile device, iPad or phone, you won't see those. Now, I didn't know this. Well, I did, but I didn't pay attention to it. See these little lines? If you just left click on that, all those tabs come up and you can navigate really easily. All right. If you're an expert at iPhones or whatever, forgive my stupidity. But if you do not see those tabs, just hit that and you get all the same tabs. Got it? All right. Got it? Okay. I can't get the right speed. All right. Let's talk about trusting too much, and we'll take questions at the end. I've talked about before, if you don't trust, you probably won't be successful. If you don't trust the system, whether it's your creation, my creation, or anyone's creation, if you don't trust the system, it will not work. As soon as the drawdown hits, or as soon as one losing trade hits, you're out of there. And if you're out of there, you're not going to be successful. Okay? I've told you over and over again, you must find someone or something to trust. Okay? And trust it unequivocally. And that's a lot to ask. And make people earn your trust. That's perfectly fine. But if you don't trust, you won't be successful. Haha. But there's a caveat to that. If you trust too much, you also probably will not be successful, at least to a point. And I'll use the example, and it's one of the most powerful examples in my life. I'll use the example of my very first tennis student. Again, I started with nothing, no money, no clients, no club to teach at. Did very well in school, at least grades said I did really well. And I was going to go to law school, but basically I was lost. I wanted to be a tennis player. I was injured. Those dreams were gone. What am I going to do? And then I accidentally took a left turn at Albuquerque and said I want to be a tennis coach because honestly that's what I wanted to be all along. I just didn't know it yet. So I was deluding myself with talks of law school. But anyway, when I met my very first student, she was all I had. She was everything. She took a chance on me. She believed in me for whatever reason. And we started working together, and it was an unqualified success. She was a great soldier, and I don't mean to belittle real soldiers. I mean, she was a great order taker. I mean, I said and she did, like Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san, like teacher say, student do. She was awesome. She did everything, and she was happy about it. She's just one of the most pleasant people, still in my life, by the way, after all these years, but just did everything. I changed all of her strokes. Again, an unqualified 20-something kid just telling her to change everything, and she did it, and it worked. I changed how she dressed. I said, if you're going to be successful, you got to dress successful, right? And she did. She changed the way she looked. She dressed classier and made herself look like a superstar, and then she became a superstar. She changed her racket. Whenever I told her to change her racket, she changed her racket. Are you getting the point? Whatever I said to change, she changed. She just did it. She trusted me, again, for whatever reason, and just did it. And she did go from, quote, nowhere to somewhere almost immediately. I've mentioned it before, but I kept track. 22 straight months, her results improved. For almost 2 straight years, every tournament she played, she did better than she did before, or she did something she had never done before for 22 straight months since we started. That was amazing. So in that regard, her trust, her complete trust led to success. So why am I saying trust too much? Well, then there's a second part of our tale, unfortunately. When it was time for her to go to college, I started with her when she was 15, and obviously she left to go to school when she was 18. All of a sudden now, me, the decision maker, wasn't there anymore. And she realized that she needed to be on her own. She realized this probably too late, and I realized it way too late, that making all these decisions for her, while successful in that particular journey, was not the greatest long-term plan. It was a horrible long-term plan, as it turned out. As soon as she went to college, her strokes fell apart. Like, I saw her months later, and it's like it wasn't even the same person. Like, she had just relied on me to tell her what to do, and then it all started falling apart. Because I was the decision maker and she had no part in it, really, it turned out that she ended up playing her college career at a level much lower. She was at a level where there are some girls that she almost beat that went on the pro tour. There were girls that she almost beat that went on to, well, there's a girl that's still on tour that was at the same tournaments we were at, right? So she could have been really good, but because she trusted me too much, as it turns out, she ended up falling apart, right? And that makes me a failure as a coach. Even though her success was there for anyone to see, I was a failure because when I went away, when we were apart, she did not continue. She did not continue to get better. And from that moment, I never taught that way again, right? And some students, it drove them crazy. They say, how should I hit my forehand? And I'd say, well, how do you want to hit a forehand? I'd say, well, how should I do this? Well, what do you want to do? And it drove them crazy. They just said, tell me what to do. And eventually, at times, I would just tell them what to do. But I spent the rest of my career, 20 years or more, trying to get people to take their own advice, trying to do their own thing. Even though I tried to give them things that would help them, it was so important that they trusted me, yes, but not too much. See what I'm saying? Here's the dilemma. To trade properly, moving to trading now, you can't only be told what to do, not to be successful long term. To run robots, which is why we're here on Thursdays, you can't only be told what to do and be successful forever, right? If you are someone who only needs to be told what to do, it might work for a while, but then it will probably fail. Well, how would it fail? Well, I'll tell you. What happens if all your setups, right, you do use my robots, or you follow my advice, or not me, your guru's advice, the person that you follow. What if you just do everything he or she says and then that person disappears? I've had, honestly, many emails from people who say, I followed this person for a year and then they disappeared. I'm thinking that maybe this happens in this industry, the trading industry. Maybe that happens a lot. People are around and they disappear. So what if I disappear or your guru disappears? What then? What do you do? What do you set your robots on then at tomorrow? What do you do tomorrow? What do you do the next day? What do you do when you go through a losing streak and you can't ask somebody? What do you do? It's a really, really scary thing. Now, I personally don't plan on going anywhere, but you never know. Or in a smaller case, what if you have a decision, you haven't thought about your own robots enough and you need to make a decision and it's time sensitive, right? A trade's coming or you're in a trade or something, or you didn't take a trade, whatever it is, and you email me or your guru and they don't get back, right? What if I'm on vacation? What if I don't look at my emails on Saturdays, which I don't, that sort of thing. What then? What happens when the person who tells you everything to do is not there? You see where we're going with this? It can turn out to be disastrous, right? Now, here are the symptoms, right? Well, how do I know? Well, I'm telling you on one hand to trust, and I'm telling you not to trust too much. Well, how do you know? Well, here are some systems. If you email your guru or me and say, did a trade happen? Did a trade happen? Did a trade happen? Right? Now, on one hand, if you're brand new to robots, I totally understand it. I would probably do the same thing, right? If you're new and robots are a little bit scary, then there's nothing wrong with asking. I totally understand that. However, the best thing to do if you get a new robot or a trading system is to be able to answer your own question, right? Think about this. If you can look at your charts and say, okay, these are the rules of the system, did it take that trade, right? That ultimately is something that you really, really, really need to understand. For example, tennis. Scott, there's something wrong with my forehand. I need you to fix it. All right. How many times have I heard that? Well, I've had lessons and I go and I fix it. But then what happens tomorrow, right? Same thing. I'm trying to hit you with a bunch of examples. You can email me and ask me if a trade happens. I'll tell you, yes, it happened or no, it didn't happen. And that might be crucial in setup time. But ultimately, you need to be able to look at your charts in any system and say, I need a trade, right? That is scary. I feel like I know that you're operating in a world of fear and vague and ambiguities if you don't know if your robot or your system should take a trade. I mean, you need to know this for sure. So that is a symptom. If you can't look at the charts and know whether your robot is going to take a trade, I'm strongly encouraging you to go ahead and do some work or ask some questions, right? If it's me, ask me questions so you understand your system. I'll happily answer them till you understand. But that's a symptom. If you don't know when your robot or system should trade, that's a problem. You need to get to know it. Asking about drawdown numbers, right? I get a lot of emails from a lot of people. What's a drawdown? What's a drawdown? Well, I'll absolutely tell you, right? But what you need to do is put the robot into your platform and run the drawdown, right? Right? You should be able, and you should get what I get, or at least darn close. That is a really important thing. Even if, I mean, you don't have to do a ton of testing, whatever. Just go, but run it for a year, whatever. Or say, listen, ask your guru, listen, I have about $1,000 drawdown at this trade size. Is that what you have? Yes. All right, great. That sort of thing. But to trade a robot and not know the drawdown makes me absolutely petrified for you, right? You need to know the drawdown. So again, if it's your system, right? If you're going to create a system from scratch, if we did a webinar on creating a system from scratch, I would tell you, know the drawdown. So if you're running a robot, know the drawdown, right? Plus, if you run a little small drawdown test on your own and you accidentally put in some wrong settings, that drawdown will be all crazy, right? And you say, oh, that drawdown is 10 times higher than I thought. And then you can, oh, wait, I put this setting in. And then when you learn the settings, you become more intimate with your system and so forth. So it's a good test just to know if you put your settings in right to run a little drawdown test, right? It really helps to understand the systems. Asking me or your guru if your inputs are right, right? 100% of the time, I will absolutely look at your inputs and say, yeah, absolutely, they're right. But that's something obviously that you need to know. You need to know whether your inputs are right. And guess what? If you understand your system, you'll know they're right? If you're talking about a fair value system, we know we want to be far away from fair value. So there should be a certain common sense where you should know, listen, I'm not going to set my Bollinger Band to 10, for example, right? If the system uses Bollinger Band, if you're trying to wait a long time. See what I'm saying? You need someone to ask for your inputs. I totally understand that. But guess what? Also, as soon as you understand your inputs intimately, you understand your system intimately. And guess what? We're always circling back to completely understanding your system, right? So knowing your own inputs, right? I have pretty much my inputs memorized because I've done it so much, right? Memorize the inputs, go over them, question if you need to, and then memorize them, really important. Or asking me what I trade, right? That testimonial we talked about had nothing to do with how I trade. If you don't know what to trade or don't have an opinion, I guess is more specific, that's a symptom. You should definitely have opinion on what you want to trade. You want to trade 1 robot, 3 robots, 5 robots. I like this system. I like that system. You absolutely have to have an opinion. It's not smart just to say, well, what do you trade? I'll trade that. It's not smart to go to your guru and say, what do you trade? I'll trade that. That can be a starting point. That can be very valuable, yes. But you need to have an opinion. Kind of this example again, if they come, I say, what grip do you want to use? Say, I don't know. You're not ready, right? It's not for me to say, do this, do that as a coach. Because ultimately we go back to, well, what if I'm not around or what? You need to have a decision. So a better question to ask your guru is, I think 1 robot is not enough for me. I think I want to trade 3. What do you think of that? Right. Then you've thought it through. But to blindly copy someone, I know my friend Rob Booker has said it a million times, right? Don't just copy someone unless I hear his points, right? I only trade 1 or 2 robots at the max, right? Most of the time I trade 1 Hornet robot, for example, or 1 fair value robot or so forth. I like to focus. If you are exactly like me in all my reasons, then go ahead and copy, right? But don't copy blindly. Copy with a reason. Use what other people know and then apply it to yourself. A portfolio, for example, might be great for you. A portfolio might stink for you, right? The person in the testimonial did his own thing. Had nothing to do with me. But of course, I'm happy to offer my opinion, right? In summary, if you're asking these questions, you don't know your system intimately. Your robot needs to be a part of you. You need to understand it. You need to like it. You need to be totally intimate with it. That sounds kind of weird. But you need to really know your systems. The sooner you don't rely on someone else, but you bounce ideas off someone else, you're set. See what I'm saying? There's a huge difference between, I don't know what to do, tell me what to do, and I hear what you're saying. I think this. What do you think? That's a totally different conversation. One of them is using trust to get better and be successful forever. The other one is trusting too much, and there's danger out there. Danger if the person you trust disappears and you don't have your own opinion. Got it? And here are some tips for you. And one of them is the quote that I love to give to my students all these years. It's not mine, but I love it. There are 2 types of people that don't succeed in the world. Those who don't do what they're told, right? People just flat out, right? Do this and you'll be successful now, right? Don't eat brownies all day long now, right? That sort of thing. The people who never do what they told, I know rebellion and whatever, but the people who never do what they're told are not successful, period, right? You need to at least do something what you're told to do. Or other people who are successful are those who only do what they're told. Right? So using a tennis example, if I say, this is a great way to hit your forehand and you never do it and your forehand still stinks, you're not going to be successful. But if you only say hit your forehand that way and that's all you do, you don't think about it, well, what if I did this way? Well, what do I do on short balls? Well, what do I do on lobs? Well, how about a slice? How about a drop shot? If you only do what you're told, you'll be more successful probably than the person who doesn't do, but you won't be ultimately successful. Do what you're told, have your own opinions too, and then there's no stopping you, okay? Now, all this being said, right, the foundation of your being successful forever, not just today or tomorrow, but for indefinite periods, right? You cannot trust too much, but that doesn't mean you can't ask for help. If you want my opinion, right, I answer every email. I will get back to you. Ask me for help if you want it. I will definitely get it, okay? I know I'm saying don't trust too much, but don't feel like you can't ask for help. That's why I am here. But do you see what I'm saying? Try to get yourself autonomous as soon as possible. Doesn't mean you can't ask me or your guru for ideas, but get autonomous. Don't need someone else so that someone else can hurt you. Be powerful. Put your own thoughts on your own system, right? Which I've been saying now for several minutes. However, there's even another version of that. Great podcast, Tim Ferriss podcast with Adam Robinson, who's done a million amazing things. But the story was Adam Robinson was a very good chess player and was, because of that, was fascinated with Bobby Fischer, maybe the greatest chess player of all time. So he memorized all of Bobby Fischer's games, right? There was like a book with like 60 of Bobby Fischer's games, and he went over them so much that he memorized them. He became a great player, not from having his own ideas, but by becoming so intimately involved with other person's ideas that it became their own. So if you're using my robots as an example, know them so well that you don't even need my opinion, right? You can make up none of it on your own if you don't want to, but you need to become so thoroughly involved in your trading system that it's almost as if it was yours. See what I'm saying? And like I said, the testimonial from the website is not my doing. I did not tell him to do that. He did it on his own. He did it. He took my robots and he did it. That's the secret. Got it? I want you to be successful indefinitely. Be strong on your own. Understand that's why I'm not trying to sell you products or whatever or get you to follow me or anything ridiculous like that, right? I just want you to be powerful forever. And I'm going to keep throwing stuff at you until you are, basically, right? But I want you to be independent. I don't want to let you down. I don't want anyone to let you down. I want you to be successful. All right, let's check some comments real quick, and I'll wrap it up. Oh, that's funny. I think I saw something funny from Andy. Let me scroll by. All right, living on a perma Bon Jovi. All right, let's see what we got. Elima, he said Umair is here. Is it the Umair that I think I know? That would be awesome, Elima, if it was. Douglas, you know the peer. You absolutely believe it. That's so funny. Thanks, Elima. Nice. Elima says nice. Scott, following the theme of today's webinar, the natural conclusion for all of us that for all of the robots you sell, you should always give your customers a source code. Otherwise, you go missing. They will be able to sort out any problems that may arise in the future. Well, yes and no. Source code is different because to become intimately involved with the robots, you don't need necessarily the code. That's something I may do. I'm not saying I won't. But also, you could take the source code and steal it and sell it. And I'd prefer people not to steal what I've worked thousands of hours on. I'd prefer that if possible. I may be totally wrong on that, and you bring up a good point. But all the inputs are open, so you can still become involved. Like when I look at other people's robots, I've never once asked for the code ever. I've traded and looked at and studied and made for my own. I don't even look at the code of my own robots. I mean, that might be the best answer. I have not once gone through the code of my own robots, ever. So do you really need the code to be successful? My opinion right now is not, but I could be wrong. Andy says, use the force. LOL. Be one with the robot. That's funny. Dennis says, do you have a login for your lifetime members? I'm working on that. I might, actually. Lifetime members may get a special page. It's something I'm working on. But that's definitely a possibility in the future, Dennis. You better believe it. Right now, though, it's all public. But I plan on, well, I don't plan on, I'm hoping to make something for members only. Douglas says, good stuff. Eva says, Douglas says, lifetime members don't want me to give the code away. All right, well, that's an interesting take. But I'll give everything but the code. I'll try to give everything but the code away and give as much as possible, right? So I've got so many systems I like to talk about, but I did want to talk about this first. So we did a little bit of philosophy today. I hope that's all right. I mean, it is important, but we'll be back to talking about systems again. I was just doing some research right before this webinar that I'm excited to talk about. Anyway, wrapping it up, I'm about 10,000 words into the latest ebook. It's a kind of a weird idea, but something I think can be really helpful. And I found it to be very, very thought-provoking. So I might put an excerpt up on my site tomorrow. I'm thinking about that. Don't hold me to that. On my site, But I'm maybe going to put one up tomorrow. I've kind of already done it, but I want to think about it. I like to make decisions after I sleep on it. But if and when I do put an excerpt, it will be on my Twitter. So when new posts go up now, they will go straight to Twitter. Fair Value course is out there. Blah, blah, blah. I'm doing my work on futures. By the way, I just found this out. And again, I'm stupid. The leverage in futures is now way better than Forex, United States Forex. Did you know that? I mean, it's way bigger. Like, you can trade way more size in a $10,000 futures account than you can in Forex now. I mean, way more. Tons more. I didn't know that. So, again, call me stupid. So I'm doing some work on futures, by the way. Still waiting on the trend following robot. Hoping that'll happen soon. Any feedback on the website, or I did that bonus blog post if you haven't read it, or anything else on the website, or any thoughts how I can make it better, or anything that I've screwed up. I'd love to fire staff members, so I'm happy to do that. So just use the contact me page, and because I'd love to make sure that's working, even though I've tested it multiple times. But use the contact me page and just give me an email, and then I'd love to hear from you. Okay, and then YouTube numbers keep growing. That's where the recordings of these webinars go also. That's all for this week, everybody. We'll be back with more systems next week. As always, I enjoy being here, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye for now.